The royal court gathers as the princess is introduced as the heart of the family. Marietta, the jaguar beast woman, dotes on her with a special milk blend. Javiet Scotton, the green anaconda beastman, offers a cuddly snake plushie. Sophie Legrasse, the black tiger beastman, kindly presents even more choices. The white tiger princess realizes she is the center of their world. Doting attendants surround the tiny princess in the middle of the room. Despite the affection, Jucilia feels the crushing weight of their high expectations. Prophecy declares her the savior destined to protect the world from total destruction. A sense of dread lingers as she questions her true potential. History recounts a time when a dark divine beast shattered the world's peace. Humans and beastmen fought together, but many fell to the darkness. To prevent ruin, the divine white tiger Anosh rose to face the threat. Anosh fought a fierce battle and sacrificed itself to banish the dark beast. The long war ended, leaving behind a scarred but peaceful land. Distrust grew, leading humans to reject beastmen and migrate to the west. Two empires were born, including the magic-centered nation of Lielberg. The Pentaryn Empire arose, ruled by the powerful golden tiger beastmen. Blessed by Ganache, the Pentaryn royalty expanded their power through generations of leadership. Even in prosperity, a grave problem plagued the royal family's future. An oracle warned that the empire would perish without a white tiger's birth. The power of the white tiger is the only hope against returning darkness. Council members argue that a white tiger's birth is impossible without Anosh's blessing. Tense debate fills the room as they weigh the slim odds of survival. The 13th Emperor of Pentaryn remains stoic, advising the council to wait. For centuries, the rare white tigers that appeared failed to survive past infancy. A miracle finally occurred during the 35th Emperor's reign with a new princess. Sophie cradles the newborn cub, reflecting on the love greeting her arrival. Jucilia's peaceful early days were soon overshadowed by a startling realization. Overhearing the staff's belief that she is Anosh's reincarnation creates immense pressure. She desperately wants to meet their hopes, but feels trapped by reality. Approaching her first birthday, Jucilia remains unable to transform like other beastmen. Lacking Anosh's special abilities, she fears the consequences of being discovered as powerless. The thought of losing their love and attention crushes her spirit. Time continues to pass without a solution as her first birthday nears. Sophie arrives with a staggering pile of gifts for the young princess. Dressed in a fancy bonnet, Jucilia endures yet another overwhelming gift parade. She wishes to be left alone to avoid becoming attached to their affection. Javiet and Uni swoon over her cuteness while she hides her frustration. A collection of adorable summer outfits is brought for her to try. The attendants compete to dress her, much to the princess's exhaustion. Tired of the constant fussing, Jucilia trudges away to seek quiet. Looking in the mirror, she wishes she truly possessed the memories of Anosh. She yearns for power simply to escape the constant, stifling expectations. Her tail twitches as she makes a quick dash down the hallway.
The maids call out in alarm as she bursts through a large door.
Crash! The little princess tumbles onto the floor after her reckless sprint. Rubbing her head, Jucilia bristles at whoever dared to enter her chambers. The staff falls silent and bows as they greet the radiant sun. The 35th Emperor, retained Dester Pentaryn, stands tall with a stern expression. This ruthless and powerful emperor is revealed to be Jucilia's formidable father. Emperor Retain approaches his daughter with a surprisingly gentle stride. The once ruthless emperor beams with pure fatherly joy. Jucilia reels from the emperor's sudden loss of royal dignity. He proudly hoists his daughter, ignoring his previous cold reputation. Memories contrast his aggressive warrior past with his current obsessions. Retain glows with happiness while asking if she missed him. He smothers Jucilia in a tight, breathless embrace. Jucilia secretly finds comfort in her father's overwhelming affection. She recalls a night spent worrying about her heavy responsibilities. Ritten had watched her sleep, comparing her to his late wife. He simply wished for his daughter to grow up healthy. Realizing his love is unconditional, Jucilia feels a sudden relief. Back in the present, his crushing hugs feel somewhat burdensome. Frustrated by the tight grip, she bites his finger hard.
Jucilia immediately panics after failing to control her cub's strength.
Ritten misinterprets the bite as a desperate cry for food. He furiously scolds the staff for neglecting the princess's hunger.
Jucilia is baffled by his intense overreaction to a thumb bite.
The entire palace staff scrambles to prepare an emergency feast. Ritten continues to dote on her while she remains exhausted. Jucilia laments that beastmen cannot communicate properly before humanization. A few days pass quietly within the grand imperial palace.
Jucilia spends her time distracted by a soft snake plushie.
Retine enters the room, greeting his daughter with a smile. He excitedly notes that something about her seems different today. The little cub stares back in confusion at his comment. Ritten chuckles, pleased that she noticed his new accessory. He reveals a white jade pendant of her face on his sword. He even confesses to casting a protective spell on it. Ritten kneels to present a special gift made just for her. Jucilia admires the beautiful necklace now resting on her chest. The staff cheers as Retine declares his daughter a true genius. He sighs, wishing he didn't have to leave her side.
Retine reluctantly hands her back to the attendants for the day.
Jucilia watches him curiously, wondering why he is leaving early. She realizes her father is departing on a very long journey. Ritten offers one final loving look before he officially departs. He gives her head a gentle pat, signaling his farewell. During a nap, Jucilia is shocked to find herself with human hands. Surrounded by flowers, she wonders if she has finally humanized. She stands transformed as a beautiful child with long silver hair. Jucilia pinches her cheeks, convinced this is only a dream. A low growl echoes through the snowy, wind-swept forest. She spots a majestic, striped tail moving through the snow. A massive adult white tiger suddenly looms before her. Jucilia feels an incredible, divine energy radiating from the beast. She blinks as the vision begins to fade into white. The mysterious tiger vanishes, leaving her alone in the cold. Days later, Jucilia waits by the window for Retine's return. She remains haunted by the memory of her strange dream. Dreaming of the massive tiger feels comforting and strangely familiar.
Jucilia wakes up uneasy, wondering if her beastman nature caused the dream.
She notices the palace guards have increased since her father's departure. Her protective magic locket sounds with a sudden, sharp clink. Xavier and Uni worry as the princess appears deeply troubled. Distant shouting echoes as Jucilia perks her ears up curiously. She wonders if her father has returned early to visit. Xavier is startled as the princess suddenly dashes toward the noise.
Jucilia senses a sharp, wild energy that definitely isn't her father's.
The intense aura feels threatening compared to the Emperor's calm presence. A powerful heartbeat thumps as a dangerous presence approaches the doors. A massive shadow looms as the grand doors swing open. A blonde boy smirks down at the real white tiger cub. Crown Prince Lumiere Penterin is revealed as her formidable older brother. Lumiere is a battle-hardened prodigy who entered war at age 10. Despite his violent temper, he was known to adore the late Empress. Sophie previously warned Jucilia to be extremely careful around the prince.
Jucilia reels in shock, wondering why he has returned so suddenly.
Lumiere mocks her weak appearance while radiating overwhelming killing intent. The heavy atmosphere makes it difficult for the cub to breathe. Sophie bows politely, welcoming the crown prince back to the palace. Lumiere reveals he missed both his mother's death and her birth. He smiles sinisterly, wanting to test her prophetic power himself. Lumiere lunges forward with a massive, terrifying burst of fiery energy. A sudden flash of light clashes against his blade mid-swing. His strike is deflected as a fierce shockwave rattles the room. Sophie screams in panic, desperately charging through the rising flames. Intense heat surrounds Jucilia as she fears her life is ending. A heavy huff sounds as Sophie struggles through the thick smoke. Sophie manages to reach the cub, checking if she is unharmed. Jucilia realizes Sophie and Uni are both injured from the fire. Guilt crushes the princess as she sees everyone hurt for her. A freezing wind suddenly sweeps through the palace, shocking the maid.
Jucilia lets out a piercing roar as divine power erupts.
The white tiger cub's eyes glow blue with surging ice magic. A powerful explosion of frost and snow engulfs the entire hall. Sophie realizes the princess has awakened an incredibly strong ability. Xavier and Uni watch in awe as the blizzard intensifies. Lumiere is delighted by the retaliation, praising her royal strength. The cub growls a warning, threatening to destroy him if he nears. Lumiere steps forward through the snow with a chilling, toothy grin. A complex magic circle appears on the floor beneath the prince. He claims the attack was meant to awaken her dormant powers. Jucilia is stunned that he almost killed her on purpose. She realizes his killing intent was real, regardless of his excuse. The princess remains wary, glaring up at her brother's suspicious actions.
Lumiere kneels down, his expression shifting into a deceptively gentle look.
He reaches out to the cub, mentioning he has been watching. Lumiere compliments her beautiful eyes while reaching to touch her head. He pats her softly, expressing a strange pity for his little sibling. Lumiere kneels to pet the cub, inquiring about her powers. The blonde boy smiles, confessing he likes his sister's talent. Sophie watches as the cub growls at the crown prince. Lumiere reveals Sophie is actually his late mother's sister.
Jucilia is stunned to learn her nanny is her aunt.
Exhaustion takes over as Jucilia struggles to stay upright. Thud! The cub collapses into Lumiere's arms from magical fatigue. Lumiere admits he initially resented his sister for their mother's death. He reveals his aggressive actions were a gamble to awaken her. The blonde boy holds her close, regretting his harsh methods. He gazes down at her with newfound, quiet tenderness. A dream transports Jucilia back into a lush, vibrant forest. She recognizes the sacred energy of the divine white tiger. Spotting a hooded boy, Jucilia realizes the dream has changed. She sees the young boy crying and wishes to comfort him. The boy is startled by her sudden, beautiful appearance.
Jucilia offers a bright, encouraging smile to the lonely boy.
She presents him with a single, vibrant yellow flower. Boom! A sudden, violent disturbance shatters the peaceful dream setting. A terrifying and dark aura suddenly saturates the forest air. A massive, shadowy serpent lunges toward the two children. The beast's eye glares with a menacing crimson light. The gigantic serpent lets out a deafening, sharp hiss. Frozen by fear, Jucilia finds herself unable to move. She resolves to fight back against the looming darkness. Jucilia calls him White Tiger, leaving the boy deeply confused. Golden lightning surges as the boy protects her from the beast. He commands her to flee while he faces the serpent alone. The boy is briefly distracted by her strange name for him. He steels his resolve to face the unavoidable danger ahead. He warns her that this monster may return for her someday. Jucilia begins to fade away as her dream self vanishes. The boy offers a final, grateful goodbye to his only comfort. Crack! Jucilia wakes up abruptly as the nightmare finally ends. Sophie is there to greet the princess as she awakens. Jucilia trembles while reflecting on the vividness of the serpent. She compares the tiger's sacred aura to the serpent's malice. She realizes the dark beast appeared alongside her new power. Sophie's uncharacteristic panic catches Jucilia's attention in the hallway. The boy's parting warning echoes ominously within her mind.
Jucilia wonders why those specific words haunt her thoughts now.
A heavy door creaks open as someone enters her room. Ratine appears, his stern gaze softening upon seeing his daughter.
Jucilia is overjoyed that her father has finally returned home.
She proudly announces the successful awakening of her magical abilities. Ritin is solemn, noting how much his daughter has grown. Jucilia senses a heavy, different atmosphere surrounding the Emperor. Hours earlier, the Emperor was briefed on a grave crisis. History recalls how the divine Anosh shattered into many fragments. These fragments became the Anosh birch trees across the world. A warning states tree issues signal disaster. Written presents a withered, blackened birch branch. The council reacts with shock to the decay. Written notes tree deaths began at Juicie's birth. He explains his investigation of the river basin. Noblemen listen intently to the emperor's discovery. Lumiere identifies the basin as the beast's prison. The emperor admits the beast remains a mystery. They identify the river of death as suspicious. Panic rises over the impending threat of disaster. Officials question if Juicie's birth weakened the seal. Atosix realizes the timeline perfectly matches her birth. They debate if she is the actual reincarnation. A tense hand grips the table during discussion. Boom! Retained slams the table, silencing the nobles. The emperor forbids using his daughter as bait. The terrified council members beg for his forgiveness. Lumiere boasts of the army's proud, strong history. The prince confidently offers his power for protection. The noblemen are relieved by the prince's presence. Retain plans to ally with the Lielberg Empire. Duke Atosix doubts cooperation with the anti-beast folk humans. Written claims the Western Empire has no choice. He reveals that attacks on Lielberg have started. Lumiere is startled by news of immediate combat. They discuss Lielberg's assassination and new archmage ruler. The strongest mage was appointed to lead Lielberg. Written links the assassination to the Birch corruption. Meeting the Western Emperor will clarify all suspicions. Lumiere wonders about the mysterious new foreign ruler. Retine departs, leaving Lumiere with many troubling thoughts. He resolves to establish diplomatic ties regardless. Creak. The doors open as the delegation prepares. Lumiere worries about the Western Empire's potential demands. Britain is willing to yield for the Empire's safety. Lumiere agrees to proceed with the delegation's preparation. The emperor remains determined to protect his people. Written laments the cruelty of using a child. He vows to prevent any harm to Jucilia.
Jucilia looks up in confusion at her father.
He gently removes any burden of responsibility from her. The cub wonders if she should truly do nothing. She reflects on the terrifying serpent from her dream.
Gasp! Jucilia realizes she must fight the darkness.
Retine notices her distress and comforts the cub. He decides to take her inside to stay warm. Jucilia gazes at him with deep, quiet love.
A tight grip signals her internal vow of protection.
Jucilia cheers for her father while resolving to train.
She plans to seek training at dawn's first light. Lumiere confirms he can understand his little sister perfectly.
Jucilia asks Lumiere to teach her ability control.
The blonde boy excitedly agrees to her request.
Jucilia feels relieved to finally be understood.
Lumiere instructs her to demonstrate her power again. To her horror, Jucilia's ability fails to respond. The prince watches as the magical energy fades. Panic sets in as her power vanishes completely. Jucilia trembles, terrified by her sudden loss of magic. Lumiere is baffled by her inability to use it. The cub remains distraught over her missing ability. She wonders if her previous awakening was a fluke. Lumiere reaches out to apologize to his sister. He gently pets the dejected cub to comfort her. Lumiere lifts her up with a bright, encouraging smile. He reassures her that awakened powers never truly disappear.
Jucilia lets out a high-pitched kyong as he cheers. Lumiere is startled by her sudden, questioning, "Kang?"
Brother and sister shout together in a goofy moment. A loud crack sounds as training continues for days. Xavier and Uni watch the cub struggle tirelessly. The staff worries as she practices late into night. Lumiere looks on with a deeply thoughtful expression. He scoops her up, deciding to halt the training. Lumiere announces a change in plans for the day. He laughs heartily while standing in a lush garden. Lumiere flops onto a vibrant field of flowers. He explains that peace is necessary for her power.
Jucilia decides to rest alongside her blonde brother.
She finds the quiet afternoon to be quite peaceful. A yellow flower reminds her of a vivid dream. Jucilia reflects on the children from her vision. Kang, she wonders about the boy from her dreams. The cub feels frustrated by her lack of progress. Lumiere notices her distress and resolves to help. He jokingly presents himself as her cool teacher. Jucilia realizes he is just trying to comfort her. She feels she understands her older brother much better. Lumiere pats her gently amidst the golden blooms. Their friends arrive at the field with a picnic. Sophie, Xavier, and Uni offer snacks and kindness. Jucilia is touched by their genuine, warm concern. She vows to practice with a fresh mindset tomorrow. Uni asks if the princess enjoyed her relaxing day. Lumiere looks serious as the sun begins to set. Evening falls over the crown prince's grand palace. Count Talon finds Lumiere's office in a total mess. Lumiere blames his stress on the dark divine beast. He confesses his nightmares of Jucilia being targeted. Talon reminds him of the elite guards protecting her. Count Talon highlights the protection of Xavier, the guard knight. Lumiere remains silent as Talon continues his briefing.
Talon sighs while Lumiere obsesses over the princess's safety.
A sudden presence at the door interrupts their discussion. Sophie enters the office, catching the prince by surprise. She reveals a beautiful bouquet intended for the prince. The sudden floral gift leaves the room completely stunned. Quick footsteps echo as Lumiere rushes toward the visitor. The blonde boy stares at the flowers in disbelief. Sophie explains the bouquet is a gift from Jucilia. Lumiere is deeply moved by his sister's thoughtful gesture. He joyfully accepts the flowers with a bright smile. In her room, Jucilia hopes her brother liked the gift. She settles into bed, wishing for a peaceful night. Jucilia returns to the familiar, vibrant forest of her dreams. She follows the path, seeking the mysterious boy again. Jucilia spots the boy waiting by the shimmering lake. The boy smiles warmly, greeting her as White Tiger. They sit together, and he asks about her well-being. He expresses relief at seeing the cub looking healthy.
Jucilia tries to ask for his name once more.
A sudden chill signals the return of a dark presence. Panic flares as she senses the black serpent nearby. The boy calmly reassures her, promising to keep her safe. Golden chains and lightning erupt to shield the cub. Radiant power surges through the air with a flash. He commands her to stand back from the shadow beast. The boy urges her to flee as the dream fades. A cold blizzard sweeps in, waking the startled princess. Wah! Jucilia bolts upright in her bed, gasping loudly. A maid is already there, tending to the princess. She offers a gentle morning greeting to the cub.
Jucilia is mortified to learn she was talking in her sleep.
Count Talon enters to deliver news from the crown prince. He reports that Lumiere was thrilled with the flowers. Talon presents an extravagant return gift from the prince. Jucilia is shocked by a massive bouquet made of jewels. The cub is overwhelmed by her brother's excessive generosity. She finds an Anosh statue among the mountain of gifts. Thud! She collapses in disbelief at their intense devotion. Xavier and the maid joke about her overprotective family. A sudden, terrifying aura makes them freeze in fear. Oppressive, flaming tiger auras loom over the trembling staff. They quickly retract their words, terrified of the Emperor's wrath. Lumiere leads Jucilia away to begin their daily training.
Jucilia resolves to master her transformation into human form.
Despite her efforts, her magical power refuses to manifest. Knights search the forest as more Anosh trees perish. Written laments the lack of clues regarding the corruption. Cheers! The family celebrates Jucilia with a giant, delicious cake. Peaceful days continue following a clumsy cake accident. Lumiere enjoys a sunny garden walk with Jucilia. Flashbacks reveal mages testing the cub's latent powers. Jucilia's physical growth remains at a frustrating standstill. In her dreams, radiant chains bind a shadow. The mysterious boy greets her warmly as Tiger. He offers a meaningful greeting as the dream ends. 2 years pass as the cub grows older.
Jucilia notices her tiger stripes have become distinct.
Sophie asks why she isn't preparing for guests. The maid reminds her of the Emperor's birthday.
Jucilia is mortified to realize it's finally today.
She collapses on the table in sudden despair.
Ritten's prolonged sulking causes trouble for the staff.
Sophie announces the crown prince's arrival at the palace. Lumiere walks through the corridors to find her.
He arrives with a bright smile and presence.
A loud kiang echoes outside the palace walls. Lumiere sets up paper and paints for Jucilia. The cub eagerly asks for paint to start. Sophie assists the excited princess with her palette. A little paw dips into bright purple paint.
Jucilia carefully crawls across her large white canvas.
Lumiere watches with curiosity as she finishes art.
He praises her for being such a smart sister.
Jucilia proudly shows off her messy, purple-stained paws. Lumiere emphasizes the love behind her handmade gift.
The cub chirps excitedly at his warm praise.
Xavier mentions rumors of mages wielding all attributes. Lumiere explains magical attribute versatility on a blackboard. He lectures the staff on mages versus therianthropes. Xavier remains deeply impressed by the mage's power. Jucilia connects the mage rumors to her dream boy. She hopes to meet the Archmage Emperor soon. Lumiere is startled by his sister's sharp intuition.
The card is finished with a cheerful hang.
Sophie calls her a genius white tiger princess. Lumiere smiles warmly while promising to deliver it. Sophie carries Juicy as they discuss the card. A cub is happy as she gets cleaned up. Staff members scramble to organize the birthday delegation.
Jucilia watches the grand courtyard activity from above.
She wonders if the foreign delegation has arrived. Juicy reflects on the birthday card for her father. The cub dashes away with a quick tap, tap, tap. Maids argue over blue and red tiara choices.
Jucilia feels exhausted by the constant accessory debates.
She sneaks away to avoid further dress-up sessions. Juicy sits regally while grumbling about Izatune's jewelry. Count Talon collapses as Lumiere brings more jewels. Juicy finds her elaborate accessories quite unusual. Sophie announces it is time for the banquet. Juicy hopes her birthday card arrives safely. She imagines her father's joyous reaction. Juicy suddenly feels strange and calls for help. Panels show her struggling through suffocating, blurry vision. She feels a terrifying pain while falling into darkness. With a kahang, Juicy vows to stay conscious for her family. The princess stumbles weakly behind her unaware maid. Juicy collapses as Sophie screams for her highness. Panicked staff rush to report the emergency to Retain. Sophie pleads with the princess to stay strong. Fading vision shows the cub thinking of her father. Retain and Lumiere scream for Juicy to wake up. The emperor frantically orders her to the infirmary. Ritten holds his unconscious daughter in deep despair. A historic exchange begins at the Pentaryn Palace. The royal family meets with a mysterious delegation. A messenger delivers the news of the princess's collapse.
Ritten reacts with horror to the sudden report.
Priests report no improvement in her critical condition. The white tiger princess remains motionless on her bed. Lumiere demands the priests heal his sister immediately. Glowing divine energy flows into the unconscious cub. A clenched fist signals a desperate search for power. Retain considers using the forbidden imperial sacred relic. The relic is capable of amplifying immense divine power. A golden vision shows the relic's incredible healing potential. Retain's gaze hardens as he orders the relic.
Lumiere is shocked by the risk of losing it.
Retain refuses to let his daughter wither and die. He resolves to retrieve the holy artifact himself. A mysterious hooded visitor offers to heal her. The delegation member approaches the high-security infirmary area. Retain demands the stranger reveal his true identity. The dark-haired boy smiles and offers his assistance.
Lumiere and Retain are startled by the boy's arrival.
He reveals he is the Archmage from the delegation. The boy identifies himself as Echiel, Emperor of Lielberg. He presents his imperial signet ring as undeniable proof. Lumiere is stunned that a child holds such status. A magical plant suddenly moves toward the princess. Retain and Lumiere watch the glowing vines in confusion. Echiel approaches while questioning the princess's great importance.
The boy emperor prepares to begin the healing process.
Juicie's breathing stabilizes as Echiel channels his magic.
Retain entrusts his daughter to the young emperor's care.
Radiant energy flows from Echiel into the white tiger.
A white-haired girl wanders through a snowy dream forest.
She realizes she has collapsed during the birthday banquet.
A heavy step echoes through the desolate, snowy space.
Juicy turns around, her blue eyes filled with surprise.
The massive white tiger from her dreams finally appears. Faced with the beast, she senses an entirely new atmosphere. The white tiger looms over the tiny, white-haired girl.
A soft talk sounds as Juicy touches the tiger's paw.
Ancient memories of the divine beast Anosh begin to flow.
She witnesses the beast's fierce battle against a dark serpent. Juicy realizes she is truly the reincarnation of Anosh.
The flood of power and memory confirms the truth. She understands the weight of her rebirth after thousands of years. Her mission is clear. The beast of darkness must be obliterated.
Destiny binds the white tiger princess to Anosh's ancient mission.
She wonders if the dark beast still lives.
Dark followers may be aiding the serpent's reincarnation as beast folk. The beast explains that reconstructing her body will take time.
Juicy glows softly as she listens to the beast's warning.
Immense power will cause her body to suffer without preparation.
She tries to find a shortcut, but none exist. The tiger urges her to return to those waiting.
A glowing tree represents the vessel she must prepare. With a sudden wah, Juicy falls back into reality. She wakes up, noticing her surroundings have changed.
Ritin and Lumiere watch over the cub with relief.
The princess wonders just how much her brother cried.
Ritin leans in, asking if she feels any better.
The cub chirps a happy kyak-kyung to show she is okay.
A sudden kyang echoes as she tests her newfound strength. Radiant blue energy erupts, startling the emperor and prince. Memories of her past life trigger a sudden power surge. Juicy struggles as her magic flares out of control.
Lumiere is shocked to see his father approaching the flames. Ritin walks through the energy to reassure his daughter. He holds her close, helping her reign in the power.
The emperor's gentle touch calms the roaring blue energy.
Priests observe that the princess can finally use magic.
They realize her previous suffering was due to her strength.
Juicy is thrilled to finally wield her powers freely.
Her attention is caught by a child in the hallway. The cub bolts away while the maid tries to stop her. A joyful kaya hang rings out as she greets a friend. Juicy excitedly pounces on the dark-haired boy, Echiel. The scene shifts back to the canceled birthday banquet. The grand palace prepares for an even larger celebration.
Flowers bloom for the rescheduled birthday event. The princess cub feels embarrassed sitting on her throne.
She realizes the boy was part of the envoy. Juicy snuggles with Echiel, much to her family's annoyance. Ritin growls, questioning why she is so familiar with him. Echiel smiles, noting the princess grew up surrounded by love.
The white tiger cub stares in confusion as the dark-haired boy emperor smiles warmly.
Ritin retrieves his daughter, apologizing to the young emperor for the cub's previous rudeness. Juicy is stunned to realize the boy seems to have no memory of her from their meeting.
Sitting on her throne, she contemplates the strange disconnect between her dreams and this reality. A happy chirp sounds as the blonde Prince Lumiere approaches his sister on the grand chair.
The prince gives the cub a loving hug while she tries to regain her composure.
Determined to stay cheerful for her father's birthday, she chirps brightly to reassure her brother. The cub blushes with embarrassment, regretting how overly friendly she acted toward the boy emperor.
Rhythmic clapping echoes through the hall as the formal ceremony for the princess continues. An announcer heralds the grand entrance of the Pentheran Empire's little guardian and angel. Carried through a sea of flowers, Juicy finds the grand celebration entirely new and exciting.
Ritin proudly displays Juicy's handmade card to the crowd, leaving the princess cub mortified. A soft kang sounds as the blonde prince feeds his sister a tasty snack. The princess cub takes a moment of quiet reflection amidst the bustling palace banquet. The visiting delegation finally makes their grand entrance, catching the attention of the entire court. Ritin welcomes the guests, thanking them for the long journey to the Pentaryn Palace. Star-like flowers bloom as the emperor demonstrates his hospitality to the visiting Lielberg delegation. A man with reddish-brown hair manifests glowing energy while explaining the limits of beastman power. He discusses the rare ability of high-ranking beastmen to manipulate the natural world and plants. Walking through the floral display, the guests marvel at the incredible power required for such growth.
Watching Echiel, the cub notices his expression mirrors the boy from her dreams perfectly.
The cub resolves to stay calm and cool as the boy emperor offers his greetings. With a polite smile, Echiel expresses his joy at seeing the princess recovered and healthy. Despite his kindness, the cub remains frustrated by his complete lack of recognition of her. The boy emperor presents a formal gift from the Lielberg Empire to the host family. Gasps fill the room as a shimmering portal manifests to deliver an ornate golden chest. Ritin accepts the token of gratitude, noting the recurring effort put into their diplomatic gifts. A click sounds as the lid opens to reveal 2 radiant purple communication magic orbs. Echiel explains the magical orbs, surprising the host with their rare and valuable utility. The atmosphere remains warm as the leaders discuss the gifts on the royal red carpet.
Sensing her distress, Lumiere asks what has made the princess look so suddenly down.
The cub hops away, announcing her intention to return to her room for some rest. She trudges along the hallway, feeling exhausted after managing the earlier chaos of the event. Under the night sky, Juicy stands alone on the balcony, reflecting on the day's events. Every encounter with the boy emperor brings back a flood of confusing, dreamlike memories. She suddenly turns beet red, mortified by her earlier impulsive pounce on the young ruler. The cub hides her face while questioning why she acted so strangely in front of him. A repetitive tapping sounds as she hops around the balcony, unable to escape her embarrassment. A sinister shadow with glowing eyes looms nearby, fixating its predatory gaze on the princess. Dozens of dark birds take flight over the palace towers with a sharp, screeching sound. Finding a fallen bird, Echiel identifies it as a follower of the dark divine beast. Lightning-infused magic incinerates the intruder as the boy realizes the enemy's clever infiltration plan. The magical fire consumes the creature, stripping away its disguise in a bright flash.
A grotesque snake-like form screeches in agony, its foul presence finally fully revealed to them. Holding a captured specimen, Echiel warns that the white tiger princess is in grave danger. He considers relocating the princess while preparing a spatial portal for immediate defensive action. Realizing there are more followers nearby, he scans the shadows with intense, focused eyes. Echiel's expression hardens as he senses multiple enemies approaching the palace from the darkness. A massive crow dives toward the unsuspecting princess while the boy emperor shouts a warning. A powerful blast strikes the winged beast as the boy confirms its dark and dangerous origins. The white tiger cub marvels at her newfound magical power, noting its immense difference from before. A soft hoo sounds as the cub takes pride in defeating a follower of darkness with a single blow. With a sharp screech, a dark bird dives, while the cub realizes her potential to one day destroy the dark divine beast. A sudden screech startles the cub, making her realize another intruder has appeared. Glowing gold chains suddenly manifest, trapping the enemy before it can strike the defenseless princess. Echiel appears amidst a shower of golden energy and roses, looking every bit the imperial protector. A soft chijik sounds as Juicy recognizes the boy from her dreams as her mysterious savior. The white tiger cub chirps excitedly, demanding to know if the boy emperor finally remembers her. Echiel offers a gentle smile and expresses relief at seeing the princess safe and unharmed. The cub growls with frustration as the boy emperor continues to play coy about their past meeting. Despite her angry chirping, Echiel maintains a playful silence, leaving the princess cub feeling completely ignored. A sudden pause occurs as the boy emperor's expression shifts into one of intense focus. Echiel commands the white tiger to return to her room while he prepares for further trouble. The princess cub blushes, her heart racing as she confirms he truly is the boy from her dreams. A sudden huang sounds as Echiel vanishes into thin air, leaving the cub bewildered by his abrupt departure.
Sitting alone, Juicy remains puzzled by why the Emperor of Lielberg is pretending not to know her.
An ominous presence nearby reflects on missing the white tiger while noting that the rat from Lielberg is close. Crackling lightning erupts as a mysterious shadow retreats, deciding to wait for their next inevitable encounter. A quick talk sounds as Echiel lands gracefully, scanning the area where the dark presence just vanished. A soft whick sounds as Echiel realizes his target has successfully escaped his grasp. The boy emperor looks on with concern, troubled by the vanishing trace of the dark intruder. Echiel senses the lingering danger, frustrated that the enemy disappeared without leaving a single clue behind. He reflects on the growing threats to the princess now that her white tiger powers have finally awakened. Standing alone in the night, Echiel determines there is only one way to truly protect the princess. A frantic call echoes as the blue-haired man finds the emperor, scolding him for using spatial magic alone again. Echiel lands with a soft tak, casually dismissing his subordinate's concerns about his sudden arrival. The blue-haired man huffs as he is completely ignored by the focused young emperor. The blue-haired man asks about the follower of darkness, learning the princess had already dealt with it herself. Echiel smiles warmly, admiring how the adorable princess is also remarkably strong and capable. He reflects on his instinctive use of magic to save her, wondering how to handle her recognition of him. Looking at the cub, he feels regret for keeping her waiting, but knows he cannot reveal the truth yet. A soft quack sounds as Echiel clenches his fist, vowing to remain silent until the dark divine beast is caught. A repetitive tack sounds as Echiel walks away, determined to succeed in his mission next time. The scene shifts to a formal meeting room where the leaders gather for a serious diplomatic discussion. Retine sits at the head of the table, projecting an aura of imperial authority during the summit. Echiel represents his empire with a calm and collected demeanor, facing the blonde emperor. A soft jack sounds as the cub watches the sunrise, reflecting on the weight of the coming diplomatic meeting.
Retine and Echiel shake hands, signifying the first historic meeting between their races since the ancient war.
Juicy notes the tense atmosphere at the palace, especially with her brother Javite's arrival for the event. The green-haired Crown Prince Javiete looks on with a stern expression, mindful of the peace between empires. Determined to help, the princess cub bolts away, leaving her guards startled by her sudden energy. Juicy pounces on the startled Javiete, eager to prove her strength despite her small size. Radiant blue energy flares as the cub playfully challenges her older brother to a duel. Javiete is taken aback as the cub lunges, urging him to stop worrying and focus on the match. The focus shifts back to the meeting as Echiel prepares to address the assembly of high-ranking figures. Retine explains the importance of the alliance as they move toward the core purpose of their gathering. Echiel listens intently while Retine emphasizes the natural necessity for their two empires to join forces. Retine signals to Duke Attisix, asking if he is prepared to reveal the items mentioned in his letter. A soft hoodoo duck sounds as the red-haired man drops dark, withered branches on the table before the shocked group. Retine reveals the ancient oracle, explaining why his family has faithfully protected the white tiger lineage for generations. A soft swish sounds as dark, charred birch branches are laid out for inspection. Retine explains the blackening birches are tied to Princess Jucilia's birth and the dark beast's influence. High on the balcony, Javiete laughs while holding the chirping white tiger princess aloft. Erna Rudella deduces the dark divine beast is targeting the remnants of Anosh through these withering birches. The assembly ponders if the white tiger princess is the ultimate target of this sinister corruption. A bead of sweat falls as Juviette wonders if being the child of prophecy will be enough to protect her. A soft swish sounds as Echiel demands the Lielberg retainers watch their disrespectful words. Echiel sternly reminds the assembly that this conference was convened to counter the dark divine beast. Hanging their heads, Erna and Noah quickly offer their apologies to the young emperor. A soft jigut sounds as Retain observes the young boy emperor's impressive command over his retainers. Retain warns that despite her status, the white tiger princess is still a fragile beast woman. He emphasizes the need for an alliance to prepare for the return of the dark divine beast. Echiel stares ahead with wide, focused eyes as the weight of the alliance sinks in. A soft seuk sounds as Erna reviews official documents while the meeting continues in silence. Noah listens intently as the discussion turns to the innate magical potential of magicians. A bead of sweat falls as Noah worries about the gravity of the diplomatic situation. Retain acknowledges that even the archmages recognize the exceptional talent of the boy emperor. The council expresses deep appreciation for the emperor's consideration regarding the defense plan. Erna explains that magicians are born with mana, which determines their total magical power. Becoming an outstanding archmage requires innate talent, immense discipline, and a strong family lineage. Only a select few archmages are chosen to serve the emperor as his guiding stars. Echiel stands at the center of a celestial magic circle, representing the sky those stars revolve around. In a quiet library, the child Echiel's intelligence is shown to be vastly enhanced by his innate mana. Born with extraordinary power, the boy is the living proof of the Lielberg Empire's potential. Echiel holds up a hand, signaling that his retainer's excessive praise is quite enough. Noah laughs heartily as the emperor tries to maintain his humble but authoritative composure. Reeton notes that a genius like the boy emperor must possess an exceptional memory. Echiel explains that an overload of memories can lead a magician's mind toward madness. A soft swish sounds as Echiel reveals a protective ring, an inheritance from his childhood mentor. Looking at the blonde emperor, Echiel identifies his grandfather, Tantitus Isles Lielberg, as his protector. He remembers being held by aptly former emperor of Lielberg in a warm embrace. A grand portrait shows the stern grandfather holding the young, wide-eyed Echiel. A heavy swash sounds as rain falls near the Rosart River during the year Echiel was born. The former emperor realized the thick black clouds circling the river signaled the awakening of the dark beast. Panicked, the grandfather watched the glowing orb, fearing the sealed dark divine beast was returning. 10 stars were dispatched to the river and successfully sealed the resurrecting beast within a crystal orb. 5 warriors, including Echiel's parents, perished during the fierce 3-day battle to prevent the revival. A soft swish sounds as a crying baby Echiel reaches up to comfort his grieving grandfather. A soft quack sounds as the grandfather promises to be the best mentor possible for the young boy. Echiel reflects on how his grandfather kept his promise, filling the void left by his lost parents. A steady talk sounds as the mentor teaches Echiel that the dark divine beast must be destroyed. Standing before the dark orb, the grandfather explains how he must suppress it with mana daily. A soft huang sounds as young Echiel reaches out to touch the pulsating energy of the crystal. Echiel senses that the black serpent is targeting the white tiger to regain its lost power. Surrounded by glowing chains, the boy realizes the ancient enemy seeks to devour the white tiger's essence. The dark energy of the orb swirls around the room, reflecting the gravity of the ancient threat. The grandfather stands in shock, realizing the young boy has actually read the dark beast's thoughts. Echiel confirms he heard the beast's intent and resolves never to let it interfere with his life. A sharp diopsiok sounds as the grandfather grabs the boy's hands to stop him from touching the orb. A soft quack sounds as the grandfather pulls Echiel into a protective, desperate hug. The young Echiel looks up with wide, innocent eyes, asking if he was helpful. Tantitus Isles Lielberg gazes down with a sorrowful expression, mourning the heavy burden his grandson must carry. The grandfather reflects on the boy's limitless talent and extraordinary intelligence, knowing a dark fate awaits him. Fearing the boy might lose himself to cold logic, the grandfather gently pats his dark hair. Kneeling before the child, the elder emperor prepares to grant him a very special protective spell. A soft whisper reveals the name of the spell is love, sparking a glimmer in Echiel's eye. The grandfather smiles warmly, surrounded by blooming flowers, as he offers his pure, unconditional affection. Happy years pass as Echiel grows from a cherished child into the disciplined young emperor of Lielberg. The peaceful memories suddenly shatter into jagged fragments, signaling an abrupt end to his childhood joy. An ominous shadow looms over the crystal orb as the dark divine beast successfully breaks its seal. Dark energy surges and blood stains the floor as the serpent escapes the anti-magic array. Young Echiel weeps over his fallen grandfather, desperately begging the late emperor to open his eyes. A heavy k-keek sounds as the current emperor returns to the cold room where his trauma began. Haunted by the past, he reflects on losing his beloved mentor in this very chamber of shadows. A soft huang sounds as Echiel grapples with the painful necessity of facing his deepest fears. He resolves to fulfill his duty, scanning the debris for any lingering traces of the dark beast. Surprised, Echiel discovers overlooked fragments of the shattered crystal orb glittering among the ruins of the room. A soft wong sounds as he realizes these shards might be the key to creating a stronger seal. Exhausted from a night of intense study, the boy emperor briefly rests his head upon his desk. A soft saw sounds as he wakes within a dream, finding himself standing in an endless green field. A soft jaruk sounds as overwhelming grief and the unfamiliar surroundings cause a sudden flood of tears. Huddled in his cloak, the lonely boy cries endlessly, feeling lost in the vast, sunny landscape. A tiny roar sounds as a small white tiger cub appears, holding a bright orange flower. Echiel freezes in shock, immediately recognizing the gentle child who has come to offer him comfort. He realizes this is the reincarnation of Anosh, looking far more fragile than the legends had suggested. Puzzled by her presence in his dream, he asks if the flower is a gift for him. A soft juk sounds as he reaches for the bloom, but the dream begins to crack under pressure. A terrifying aura erupts, and Echiel realizes the dark divine beast has infiltrated the white tiger's dream. He commands the princess to watch out, using his ability to read the beast's murderous intent. A sharp juk sounds as a massive black serpent rises, radiating an immense and ancient dark power.
A bead of sweat falls as Echiel remembers this monster killed 5 stars and his own grandfather.
A sharp grrr sounds as the cub watches the young emperor summon glowing chains to bind the beast. A steady talk sounds as he recalls his grandfather's teaching that Anosh is essential for the beast's destruction. Shaking off his weakness, Echiel determines that he must protect the white tiger princess at any cost. A sharp pat sounds as he commands the cub to run while he struggles to hold back the serpent. Determined not to lose anyone else, Echiel vows to stay behind and buy her time to escape. Waking at his desk, the emperor realizes the crystal fragment allows him to enter the princess's dreams. He decides this secret advantage must remain hidden from the enemy until the final confrontation begins. Echiel activates a pocket dimension, securely storing the shard while he continues to monitor its dark energy. He researches new magic to counter the serpent's plan to devour the princess and regain its lost power. A sharp pajik sounds as he reflects on following the beast into the dream to save the cub. He maintains absolute focus, knowing even a moment of distraction could lead to a total disaster. A soft pajik sounds as he describes how the beast's thoughts flowed into his mind during the struggle. A sharp jijirit sounds as the emperor reveals the serpent's ultimate ambition is to dominate the entire world. With cold determination, Echiel vows to completely destroy the dark beast and shatter its plans to pieces. A soft pwak sounds as he clenches his fist, telling the assembly he has a vital report. A soft sigh sounds as Duke Atasix agrees, ready to drive away the disrespectful envoys and take action. Standing before the allied leaders, Echiel begins his report on the connection between the two divine beings. He explains how both souls have finally been restored after centuries of dormancy in the Rosart River. The boy emperor reveals that the dark beast sensed the tiger's rebirth and escaped Lielberg to hunt her. Emperor Echiel notes that the dark beast is currently unable to maintain its form. The jar containing the shadow serpent pulses as followers begin infiltrating the palace. Duke Retain presents a captured essence, warning that more followers are targeting the princess. Duke Atasix reflects on the tactical disadvantage Dark Beast followers face in human lands. Emperor Echiel officially proposes relocating the White Tiger Princess to Lielberg for protection. He emphasizes that this move is vital while they purge the eastern continent of enemies.
Duke Atasix listens to the proposal with a heavy and contemplative silence.
Juicy acknowledges the grave danger and accepts that she must leave her home. Duke Atasix accepts the Emperor's proposal as the scene shifts to a tense night. Waking under the open stars, the cub realizes she is no longer in her room. Juicy is startled to find her brother, Iseton, carrying her through the darkness. The blonde boy reassures the cub as she realizes her brother is rescuing her. Iseton rushes through the palace, explaining the need for a paralyzing relic's protection. Juicy panics, struggling to understand the sudden and desperate nature of their escape. Iseton pauses, his eyes flashing with bitterness when Juicy asks about their father. He bluntly states that their father will not be joining them on this journey. Iseton expresses deep anger at their father for agreeing to send Juicy away so easily. A sudden, quick tack sounds as they reach the balcony, while Juicy demands a proper explanation. The cub freezes in shock as her brother prepares to leap from the high ledge. Juicy suddenly senses the terrifying aura of the dark divine beast close by. Iseton draws his sword as a brilliant flash of magical energy erupts before them. Standing protectively over the cub, the young prince glares at the encroaching purple aura. A mysterious red-haired woman emerges from the dark energy, appearing dangerously calm and confident. The stranger greets them with an eerie affection, calling the young prince her darling. She reveals her master sent her to see how much the children have grown. Terrified, Juicy and Iseton realize this intruder is an elite follower of the Dark Beast. Iseton struggles to remember the woman's identity, sensing a deep and ancient familiarity. The woman conjures a glowing spiderweb, mocking the playtime her master promised her. Juicy's memory is jolted by the spiderwebs, finally recognizing the ancient threat. Records from 1,000 years ago identify the woman as the Black Widow, Dort Hill. Juicy realizes the legendary monster has resurrected alongside the dark divine beast. Dort Hill tauntingly warns Iseton not to use his brutish power near her darling. The princess knows they are currently no match for such a powerful and ancient foe. Juicy urges her brother to flee immediately instead of falling for the woman's taunts. Iseton reluctantly admits that retreating is their only hope for survival right now. Dort Hill mocks their attempt to escape, questioning the strength of the brown tiger. Iseton runs with all his might, apologizing to Juicy for the danger they are in. The cub looks back with worry, wondering if they have truly distanced themselves. Juicy reflects that Dort Hill's true danger isn't her physical power or direct attacks. She reveals the woman's most lethal weapon is a paralyzing, poisonous mist in the air. Iseton stumbles and begins to collapse as the poison fog overwhelms his body. The cub is left defenseless as the paralyzing relic's effect on her finally wears off. Looming shadows descend upon the princess as the spider-woman approaches her tiny prey. Juicy feels a wave of pathetic helplessness as she watches her brother suffer for her. She desperately tries to activate her mana, but her previous training has exhausted her power. The Black Widow prepares to deliver a final, fatal strike to end Iseton's life. A sharp GG writ sounds as golden chains suddenly erupt to bind the villain's reaching hand. Dort Hill is halted mid-attack,
her expression shifting to one of genuine and sudden frustration. Relief washes over the cub as Duke Atasix and Emperor Echiel arrive just in time. Duke Atasix unleashes his fiery wrath, threatening to incinerate the intruder for touching his children.
Reassured by the arrival of help, Juicy confidently believes her father can defeat the intruder.
A sudden tock sounds as the red-haired woman admits the intervention wasn't part of her plan.
Calling out a mocking farewell to her darling, Dort Hill vanishes into the darkness as the guards demand she stop.
Standing protectively before his children, Duke Atasix stares down the spot where the villain disappeared.
A soft "saw" sounds as the Duke lifts Juicy, apologizing for not arriving sooner to protect her.
A warm, healing glow surrounds the fallen prince as the Duke confirms Iseton is finally out of danger.
Cradling his daughter, the Duke's frustration grows as he realizes the dark follower has completely vanished.
Emperor Echiel observes the lingering traces of darkness, emphasizing the urgent need to move the princess to safety.
A sharp patuk sounds as the Duke decides on an immediate departure, leaving the cub feeling dazed.
The moon hangs high over the silent palace as the narrative notes the conclusion of Isetun's desperate runaway attempt. Looking out the window, the blonde prince reflects on the punishment he must face once his body recovers.
In the quiet of the night, Juicy learns her father has officially decided to send her to the Lielberg Empire.
Duke Atasix holds his daughter in a crushing embrace, promising to come and retrieve her as soon as possible. A soft wung sounds as the servants prepare for a hasty departure to coincide with the returning Lielberg delegation. 3 elite servants stand ready, having survived fierce competition to accompany the princess on her journey abroad. The Duke reflects on how the public sees this move as a symbol of harmony between the 2 great empires. Crowds gather at the palace gates, whispering rumors about the young princess testing her hybrid powers in foreign lands. Citizens marvel at Juicy's sense of duty, unaware that she is being hidden to prevent word of the beast's revival. A soft kilrung sounds as the cub expresses her unease about leaving the very day after their terrifying encounter. A sharp pot sounds as the cub looks back with regret, saddened that she couldn't say goodbye to Isetun. Startled, Juicy notices a green leaf falling past her as she is carried toward the departure point. A sudden, strong wind begins to howl, whipping the cub's fur as the atmosphere shifts dramatically. A massive magic airship suddenly shimmers into view, emerging from the invisibility spell that usually keeps it hidden. Juicy's eyes sparkle with pure wonder as she excitedly tells her father how amazing the flying ship looks. Watching his daughter's joy, the Duke offers a soft, sad smile that masks his internal pain of separation. A soft crung sounds as the cub gazes up at her father, feeling the weight of the impending farewell.
A soft talk sounds as the Duke gently boops his daughter's nose, trying to lighten the heavy mood.
He hugs her one last time, sternly commanding her to stay safe so that no one can ever threaten her again. A soft sadam sounds as the Duke strokes her head, assuring her that the Lielberg Empire will be a secure home. A soft pwa sounds as the Duke stands tall on the platform, watching as his daughter is taken aboard the ship. A heavy sa sounds as the airship ascends, with the Duke waving and shouting his love from the ground below. A sudden huijak sounds as Juicy waves back, mentally vowing to return safely to her father one day. From a high balcony, Isetun watches the airship become a distant speck, sharing the pain of his sister's departure. A soft dungshill sounds as the vessel sails through the clouds, carrying the princess toward her new responsibilities. A sharp chiak sounds as Juicy stands firmly on the deck, determined to use this time to become much stronger. A soft whoa sounds as the servants comment on how the palace already looks like a tiny dot from this height. A sharp jock sounds as Juicy freezes, shocked to hear Echiel's voice behind her as he explains the invisibility spell. A sharp chalk sounds as the young emperor commands everyone to head inside, acting as if he is a complete stranger. Juicy stares at him with a mix of annoyance and confusion,
realizing she is stuck with this mysterious boy for now.
A sharp tick-tock sounds as she wonders how long Echiel intends to keep pretending they haven't met in her dreams. Entering her new room, the lonely cub gazes out the window and wonders if she can truly survive in Lielberg. She remembers the warm person from her dream and laments that the real emperor is acting so cold and distant. A soft kawoong sounds as she contemplates the long road ahead, hoping to return home within a single year.
A soft delaying sounds as she reflects on the spiderwoman, realizing the enemy is already making calculated moves.
A soft sighing sounds as Juicy deduces that the dark beast, like herself, likely hasn't recovered its full ancient power yet. A dark shadow looms in her mind as she analyzes the limitations of the beast's current strength. A sharp poak sounds as she clenches her paw, resolving to master her powers before the dark beast can fully revive. A soft sogan sounds as the servants whisper about the princess being in low spirits due to the sudden move. A sharp kick sounds as the chibi versions of the servants continue to gossip about her quiet behavior. A sharp huideljak sounds as the servants suddenly call out to her, snapping Juicy out of her deep thoughts. The green-haired man suggests exploring the airship during their long journey. Feeling a soft kong sound, Juicy the cub initially declines her attendance offer. The princess realizes the man is simply trying to cheer her up. A soft koduk sounds as Juicy changes her mind, deciding to explore. While the servants celebrate, Juicy hopes to run into the young emperor. 4 days later, Juicy's paw hits the floor with a sharp ta-at sound. A rhythmic ta-da-dak sounds as the cub races through the palace halls. Juicy reflects on how her initial complex feelings are slowly fading away. Cared for by her attendants, Juicy realizes study abroad is actually great. Hearing the servants call for her, Juicy quickly hides behind a corner. A rhythmic jiao biak sounds as the servants frantically search for the princess. Sneaking through the halls, Juicy wonders why Echiel has been avoiding her. Juicy suddenly spots the young emperor reading quietly by a sunny window. Finding her target, the white cub's eyes sparkle with pure, mischievous joy. A sharp huadeljak sounds as Juicy startles Echiel with a loud greeting. Blushing, the boy hides behind his book while offering a quiet greeting. Juicy immediately corners him, accusing him of avoiding her for several days. Pouncing with a loud ooh-da-da-da, she declares he can no longer escape. A sharp puljak sounds as Juicy demands to know his true identity. Echiel tries to change the subject, asking if she's adjusted to ship life. He smiles warmly, explaining that his recent absence was due to work. Juicy stares at him, realizing he may not understand her cub language. A loud kya-ang sounds as Juicy realizes their frustrating lack of communication. Echiel misinterpreted her frustration as a sign of feline affection and needing. The young emperor wonders if he should finally reveal the whole truth. He recalls her chibi self asking about magic and wanting snacks. A loud jo-ang sounds as Juicy's frustration at being misunderstood overflows. Desperate to speak, Juicy reflects on how much she misses her family. A soft pietuk sounds as Echiel admits the communication barrier is difficult. A sharp puljak sounds as Juicy insists she is the most frustrated. A loud quang-tang sounds as Juicy screams and accidentally falls backward. Echiel's eyes widen in shock as a brilliant magical energy suddenly erupts. A loud huak sounds as Juicy temporarily transforms into a human girl. Looking at her new form, Juicy realizes she finally has human hands. A soft dugan sounds as Juicy celebrates her brief return to humanity. Chibi Echiel confirms her appearance while Juicy realizes she can finally talk. Excitedly leaping, Juicy understands that her human form allows for speech. A soft bawoong sounds as Juicy panics, feeling her transformation quickly fading. Echiel laughs with joy, relieved they have finally found a communication method. Reverting to a cub, Juicy is devastated she couldn't maintain her form. Narration explains that Juicy's immense power makes her transformations very difficult. Echiel promises to help her train her powers once they reach Lielberg. Under the moonlight, Juicy greets Echiel formally as they talk on deck. Echiel smiles warmly, asking the princess to call him by his name.
Juicy is overjoyed to finally have a translation tool to speak clearly.
Echiel explains that only he can hear her through the magic bracelet.
He mentions the archmage who worked tirelessly to create the translation tool. A flashback reveals Noah crying after thousands of failures to translate Beastkin. Echiel hopes that future research will eventually allow others to hear her.
Juicy agrees to the secret, happy to just be able to talk.
Awkward silence fills the air as Echiel and Juicy sit together under the stars.
Juicy realizes she must speak up now or lose the chance to learn the truth.
Her paws hit the wood as a sharp top sounds, signaling her approach.
Juicy asks Echiel if their dream encounters are the reason for his strange, distant behavior.
The white cub asks for the truth, wondering why Echiel is pretending they are strangers. Dropping his facade, Echiel admits he is indeed the person from her dreams.
Echiel explains how the beast killed his family and why their dreams must remain secret.
The young emperor wonders if the tragic story of his past was too heavy. A soft sigh sounds as Juicy feels deep sadness for the tragedy he endured.
Juicy feels responsible for Echiel's burden, determined to help him carry the heavy weight.
A sudden stop sounds as Juicy tells Echiel he shouldn't face everything alone. The white cub resolves to grow stronger and eventually erase the dark beast herself. A gray-haired man with a mustache smiles warmly in a faded, nostalgic flashback. In the Pentaryn Empire, a dark voice declares the world will soon belong to him. Demanding Anosh be brought forth, the blonde prince brandishes his sword with intense fury. A sharp splash sounds as followers pledge eternal life to the Great One, amidst blood. Duke Atasix reflects on his father's wisdom, while a sudden swish sounds from a follower. Looking at his bloody hand, Izatun realizes Pentaryn is no longer safe for his sister. Duke Atasix and the prince observe that the cultists no longer hide their dark faith. A soft brush sounds as the prince vows to clean the land and retrieve Juicy. A voice calls the brown tiger nasty as the duke's party explores the quiet woods. A red-haired woman with purple eyes notes the brown tiger lacks Juicy's unique charm. A soft touch sounds as the woman describes Juicy as delicious-looking, earning a stern warning. Lake Alf, a silver-haired follower, notes that the white tiger belongs to their dark master. A soft ripple sounds as the red-haired woman asks if the master has finished eating. A rhythmic step sounds as a purple-haired man emerges, declaring it time to move. In the southern city of Kylo, the Dark Master stands tall with his loyal followers. Lake Alf reports that consuming beast humans has significantly accelerated the Master's physical recovery. The Master commands more meals while his red-haired follower agrees with an eager smile. A sharp tisk sounds as the Master remains frustrated despite his mostly restored body. A soft slide sounds as the Master laments his inability to use the beast's power. He blames lowly creatures for his weakness, his eyes glowing with a sharp glint. A sharp snap sounds as the Master clenches his fist, determined to rebuild his strength. A dark chuckle sounds as he envisions seizing the world once his power is reclaimed. The purple-haired Master smiles chillingly, deciding to let Anosh go for the time being. A rhythmic step sounds as he walks away, promising the world's destruction upon their return. He declares it is time to build his nest as dark ichor drips down. A loud hum sounds as the airship finally reaches the Lielberg Empire after 2 weeks. A sharp creak sounds as Echiel opens the gates, asking if the cub is ready. Sunlight filters through blooming white flowers, signaling their arrival in the beautiful imperial capital. A soft thump sounds as Juicy gazes at Burke, the grand and towering capital city. Sparking with excitement, Juicy marvels at the tall buildings and the city's unique atmosphere. Echiel smiles warmly as Juicy resolves to look dignified as the representative of Pentaryn. Rhythmic footsteps sound as Echiel promises to give the princess a more detailed tour later. Echiel warmly greets Duke Zitar, who welcomes the young emperor back from his journey.
Juicy is startled by the name Zitar, watching the newcomer with wide, curious eyes.
A silver-haired man with glasses stands tall, looking remarkably young for his actual age. Juicy asks Echiel why humans age so slowly in appearance after reaching adulthood. A sudden startle sounds as Echiel explains magic can stop aging, shocking the cub. Duke Zitar mentions hearing that the Pentaryn princess would be accompanying the imperial party. Duke Zitar welcomes Juice, ensuring her stay is comfortable. The silver-haired Duke gently pets the small white cub. Offended by being treated like a pet, Juice leaps. The cub shouts at his rudeness while flying through the air. Zitar is stunned as Juice pounces directly onto his chest. Sophie appears, scolding the regent for his lack of understanding. She criticizes his diplomatic preparation while the cub pouts. Echiel watches the awkward confrontation unfold between the adults. Zitar is shocked to hear Echiel address the cub formally. Juice reflects that she only spared him because of Sophie. The Duke bows deeply, offering a sincere apology for his error.
Juice's anger vanishes as Zitar earnestly offers to accept punishment.
Sophie allows the regent to rise after the apology is accepted. Juice lets out a happy sound as Zitar thanks her.
Sophie praises the princess's kind heart as they move on.
News of the princess's arrival spreads throughout the Lielberg Empire.
Juice marvels at the tall, magically engineered buildings in Berk.
Zitar reveals a playground specially designed for the visiting princess. Local citizens watch the party with wary and curious expressions.
Juice notes that centuries of isolation make their wariness understandable. The princess finds the relative indifference of the public refreshing. She appreciates the quiet life away from the constant attention. Juice spots a silver-haired boy watching them from a distance. Claude is frustrated that his uncle is working late again. His mother explains Zitar is busy with the imperial guests. The boy watches his uncle work tirelessly at his desk. Claude blames the new visitors for keeping his uncle away. He is furious that his uncle was forced to kneel. Claude Continental vows to make the Pentaryn guests pay. Juice describes the Stella Palace, her new home in Lielberg. The palace is filled with magical tools that intrigue her. Juice is frustrated by the access pass restricting her movements. She remembers asking if her translation tool granted more access.
Echiel explains that access permissions depend on the pass's rank.
He demonstrates how the palace's magical security barriers operate. Sophie allows Juice to explore only the permitted palace areas. The white cub sulks while walking through the grand halls.
Echiel promises to upgrade her pass if she performs well.
Juice prepares for training when she is suddenly addressed. Claude introduces himself and questions why she is there. The silver-haired boy points and formally challenges her. Juice is confused by his talk of honor and dueling. She dismisses him as a kid and walks away quietly. Claude screams at being ignored while Juice remains focused. The boy suddenly casts a spell, his hands glowing purple. A binding magical energy traps Juice, freezing her body. The white cub struggles against the restrictive magical binding. Juice realizes the young boy is a talented magic user. Claude gloats while Juice demands he release the spell. Juice boldly accepts the challenge, leaving the boy stunned.
Claude commands the white cub to follow him for training.
The silver-haired boy threatens to humble the arrogant princess. Claude raises his sword as purple electrical energy crackles. Juicy realizes the boy is a surprisingly formidable magical opponent. Claude lunges forward with his blade, demanding a challenge. A powerful roar sounds as Juicy summons her icy aura. Surprised by her own power, Juicy struggles to lower her strength. A sharp sounds as Claude is blasted backward. The boy groans with another pained after hitting the wall. Dazed, Claude wonders if this is truly the power of beastkin. The massive magical impact causes a stone pillar to crumble. Juicy roars a desperate warning for the boy to dodge. Claude remains frozen in shock as the heavy stone falls. A soft hey sounds as Juicy's eye shines with sudden light. A silver-haired girl with a gentle smile appears through the dust. A sudden eek sounds as the crowd rushes to help. The mysterious girl tells the dazed boy he can relax. Staff members cry out for the princess as Juicy fainted.
A pained ah sounds as Juicy hears Echiel's distant voice. Echiel watches over her with a deeply worried expression.
Juicy awakens in her room, surrounded by concerned imperial officials.
The white cub rests on the bed, feeling very weak. Narration explains the pendant her father gave her was crucial.
Juicy asks if Claude is all right after their intense spar.
Duke Sitar explains that Claude is currently under strict house arrest.
Echiel considers the punishment light for endangering an imperial princess.
Juicy insists on deciding Claude's final punishment herself.
The scene shifts to the next day at Stella Palace.
Echiel explains he added more protection to her translation artifact.
The white cub suggests postponing their spar until she recovers.
Echiel smiles warmly, relieved that Juicy is safe and resting. The Emperor asks if she is satisfied with Claude's fate.
Juicy assures him it is enough, hiding her mischievous plan.
The white cub giggles while plotting to use her rival. A soft chirp sounds as morning light hits the palace grounds.
Rhythmic steps sound as the Emperor arrives at the courtyard.
Echiel greets the princess as he brings a nervous Claude.
Juicy reveals that her training opponent today is actually Claude.
Claude bows, accepting the training duty as his new penance.
Juicy warns the boy she won't go easy on him.
A sudden thud sounds as Juicy's intensity terrifies the boy. Claude drops to his knees, begging the princess to reconsider.
In a chibi moment, Claude cries as the others watch.
The guard lifts the crying boy who begs for slavery instead.
Juicy observes that Claude looks completely deflated and exhausted. Claude looks at the white tiger with wide, tearful eyes. Juicy offers her paw, asking him to be her friend.
The white cub beams with a bright and joyful smile. Claude is dazed, wondering if he is really her friend.
Claude looks nervous as he is formally introduced.
Duke Zatar looks down with a stern, focused expression. A sharp top sounds as Zatar explains Claude's repentance letter.
A playful sound as Zetar carries Claude away from Juicy.
Echiel suggests sticking to their original training plan today. In the sunlit courtyard, Echiel prepares for their training session.
Echiel adjusts his black gloves and jewelry before they begin.
He explains his accessories are actually magic suppression devices. Offended, Juicy vows not to hold back during training.
Echiel encourages her to attack with everything she has.
A sudden thump sounds as Juicy lunges with icy paws.
A rhythmic tap sounds as Juicy leaps with full power.
Echiel marvels at the beauty of her blue flames. A soft click sounds as Juicy hopes for a rank upgrade.
Juicy is startled to find that Echiel has suddenly disappeared. A quick tap sounds as she realizes he used teleportation. Juicy is deeply impressed by Echiel's immense magical strength.
Determined, the cub unleashes another wave of blue fire.
Juicy demands that Echiel reveal his location and fight.
A soft whoosh sounds as Echiel appears directly behind her. Crackling with energy, Echiel praises her strategy but counters. A sharp gasp sounds as Echiel claims victory in spar.
Juicy is horrified as her magical flames suddenly vanish.
Defeated, Juicy sulks as a system notification confirms her loss.
Echiel looks down at the cub with a knowing smile. A dull thud sounds as Echiel denies her rank increase.
Juicy protests the disqualification while clinging to Echiel's leg. Echiel points out that her human transformation is still imperfect.
He explains that maintaining human form proves one's internal capacity.
A soft whimper sounds as Juicy feels frustrated by her progress.
Echiel gently pets the cub, promising to help her improve.
Curious, Juicy prepares to ask Echiel a serious question. In a chibi moment, Juicy asks about their apparent ages.
Blushing, Echiel asks what his role is in her life. Juicy considers him a very precious and important partner.
The white cub beams with a wide, innocent smile. Juicy giggles, happy to share secrets about the god beast.
Echiel smiles warmly, moved by her sweet and honest words.
A soft blink sounds as Juicy watches him with curiosity.
A sharp crack sounds as Claude suffers through intense training. A beautiful blue-haired girl appears amidst a swirling winter blizzard.
Echiel and Claude are amazed by her new transformation record. A soft slide sounds as Echiel praises her recent improvements.
Juicy worries that time is running out for her mission. Echiel kneels to comfort her regarding the dark divine beast.
He reassures her that their combined armies are more than enough.
A soft gaze sounds as Juicy appreciates his comforting presence.
Echiel humbly dismisses the importance of his own kindness. A rhythmic scratch sounds as Zetar records her progress's growth.
After 250 days, Penteran's southern region is finally secured.
A maid's testimony reveals the princess's secret nighttime tears.
News of Penteran's victory brings hope for the princess's spirits.
Juicy spars against Echiel's formidable golden magical chains.
The staff debates gift colors for Juicy's 5th birthday.
Juicy enjoys tea with Echiel and Claude under blossoms.
5 years later, the scene shifts to Lielberg. Duke Zetar notes that Penteran has finally stabilized. Officials report that Penteran requests the princess's imminent return. Zetar dismisses his subordinate with a stoic, focused expression.
The Duke dreads the inevitable day he must bid farewell.
He reflects on the princess's silent longing for her family. Zetar credits Duke Vane for Penteran's remarkably fast recovery. Duke Vane Idlerose is blessed by the Black Wolf's power. Zetar notes Vane is the first direct descendant in decades.
The young Duke's immense power is a crucial wartime asset.
Zetar plans to secure a mage for the princess's future. He prepares a resignation letter as Echiel nears adulthood. Juicy looks suspicious as she focuses on her training.
A bad feeling strikes Juicy during her intense evaluation.
Juicy struggles against the overwhelming power of the golden chains. Echiel challenges the cub to reach him during battle.
Juicy unleashes a roar of icy blue magical energy.
The white cub lunges with a powerful, determined strike. Echiel reacts with surprise to her sudden increase in speed. He prepares a dangerous countermeasure for her powerful attack. Echiel casts a sleep spell, ending the sparring match. Juicy grumbles as the cheap magic takes hold instantly. Echiel catches the sleeping cub before she hits the ground. He decides to promote her to the next clearance level. Echiel watches over the sleeping princess in her room.
He realizes she was simply exhausted from pre-test nerves.
Echiel admires her constant dedication despite her small stature. A magical aura surrounds the cub as transformation begins.
He worries that mastering human form means her departure.
Echiel selfishly hopes her stay lasts just a bit longer. The Emperor watches her with a soft, affectionate gaze. Juicy awakens as a young girl and calls for Echiel.
Stunned, Echiel witnesses her successful first human transformation.
Juicy celebrates her breakthrough while sitting beside the Emperor. The silver-haired girl beams with pure, unbridled excitement.
Echiel offers a warm, congratulatory pat on her head.
Juicy smiles brightly, basking in his praise and affection. Sophie and the staff prepare Juicy for her debut. Juicy's family begs for her attention through a communication tool. Juicy laughs nervously at her father's intense parental love.
The maids fuss over her hair as she remains stunned.
A maid gasps at the young princess's stunning beauty. Juicy is flustered by the sudden mention of an escort.
She panics over choosing between her two closest friends.
A system window highlights Echiel as a prime escort candidate. A profile highlights Claude Continel's genius traits. Javiet, a green-haired knight, offers his candidacy. The knight formally pledges his service to Juicy. Juicy considers Javiet a strong option for escort. Sophie suggests choosing a noble from Lielberg instead. Juicy hesitates while Javiet reacts with disappointment nearby. Juicy realizes her human form changes their dynamic. She worries about Echiel's busy schedule lately. Juicy ultimately decides that Claude is her choice. She resolves to ask the silver-haired boy herself. Juicy informs her maid that the choice is made.
A magical call connects Juicy with her friend.
Juicy happily invites Claude to the Stella Palace. The group enjoys tea amidst falling cherry blossoms. Claude is stunned by the princess's escort request. The boy mistakenly interprets the request as marriage. Claude dramatically pledges his life as her groom. Chibi Juicy reminds him they are only 12.
Juicy demands he focus on the banquet plans.
Claude enthusiastically promises to prepare for their entry. An official asks why Echiel wasn't her choice.
Juicy pragmatically chooses Claude for his free time. Royal mages work on glowing fireplace magic seals.
Juicy enjoys her freedom roaming the palace grounds. Narration highlights the diplomatic importance of their bond. Officials discuss the history of human and beastkin marriage. Legends describe a time when mixed heritage was common. Mixed children inherit a variety of magical abilities. The legal systems for these heritages are slowly improving.
Javier's joke about Echiel marrying someone shocks Juicy. A sudden, sharp pain strikes Juicy's heart deeply.
Juicy realizes she dislikes the thought of Echiel marrying.
Javiette mentions her training session with Echiel tomorrow. A quick, sudden pot sounds as Juicy remembers their agreement. She plans to confront Echiel about his partner.
Juicy is crestfallen to learn Echiel canceled training.
The princess runs, feeling neglected by her busy friend. Juicy intercepts Echiel as he passes her hallway. Echiel coldly dismisses her, claiming he is busy. Juicy stands alone as Echiel walks away silently. Juicy fumes over the possibility of him missing her birthday. Maids try to comfort her with sweets under blossoms.
Juicy feels stood up and ignored by her partner.
Determined, Juicy declares this behavior is completely unacceptable. The princess sprints away, ignoring her worried maids.
Juicy calls out for the regent while running. She recalls their shared goal to destroy the snake.
Juicy is furious that her partner is avoiding her. Juicy bursts into the room demanding a favor. Duke Sitar looks up in surprise at her intrusion. Juicy requests an urgent audience with the emperor. She believes asking Zadar is her best option. The girl needs an access pass ring. She expresses a desperate wish to see Echiel.
Zatar uses spatial magic to fulfill her request.
Echiel stands alone under the moonlit sky. He broods on the balcony, looking troubled.
The boy fears their time together is ending.
Echiel is startled to hear Juicy call out. The silver-haired duo emerges from a magical portal. Echiel is stunned by their sudden midnight arrival. He asks what necessitated using spatial magic. Juicy demands to know why he's avoiding her. She confronts him over his canceled training sessions. Echiel weakly claims he was simply very busy.
Juicy calls out his excuses and poor communication.
She questions if training is no longer necessary. Juicy shares her hurt over their fractured partnership. Echiel offers a somber apology for his behavior. He reveals his fear of their impending separation. The boy admits avoiding her was out of loneliness. Juicy clenches her hands as she processes his confession. She insists on cherishing their remaining time instead.
Echiel realizes the error of his distant ways.
He apologizes for disregarding her feelings so completely.
Juicy promises to remain a faithful, lifelong partner.
Echiel blushes, touched by her unwavering sweet loyalty. He vows to resume training with renewed dedication. The two argue playfully about their respective growth. Echiel prepares to present a long overdue reward. He gives Juicy a blue magic stone ring. The princess is thrilled by beautiful gift. Juicy explains her plan to explore the palace. Echiel watches her with an overprotective, worried gaze. Juicy compares him to her doting older brother. She admits his care makes her feel home.
Echiel asserts his role as her official guardian.
He offers to be her formal banquet escort. The emperor smiles, eager for her positive answer. Chibi Juicy considers his competitive escort proposal. She decides to consult her first choice, Claude.
Echiel stands frozen in shock at being second.
He reflects on Juicy's uniquely captivating, bold nature. Sunlight filters through the palace's high garden walls. Echiel is startled to see Juicy approaching today. Juicy arrives for training alongside a smiling Claude. Echiel questions the silver-haired boy's sudden presence. Claude boldly challenges the emperor to a duel. Echiel insists that the emperor's duty is paramount. Juicy acknowledges the diplomatic weight of his claim. Claude and Echiel argue over who is the more fitting escort. The princess proposes a clever solution to satisfy both boys. Guests whisper about the princess's debut and her prestigious escorts. Juicy's elegant heels step forward onto the banquet hall floor. The silver-haired girl shines in a beautiful blue evening gown.
The herald announces the entry of the Emperor and Claude. Juicy makes a grand entrance flanked by her 2 escorts. Chibi Juicy celebrates the success of her strategic social plan. The princess formally greets the crowd in her human form.
Juicy graciously welcomes everyone to enjoy her celebratory birthday banquet.
She thanks Duke Sitar for his presence at the event. Guests offer their greetings as the princess navigates the crowd.
Juicy notices a familiar brown-haired girl watching her from afar. The narrator identifies the girl as Bianca from the Saint family. The Stella Palace stands majestic amidst blooming pink cherry blossoms. Juicy wonders if the guests are staring at her companions. A quick, light step sounds as Bianca walks through the hall. Juicy approaches Bianca, who looks startled by the sudden attention.
Bianca formally introduces herself and offers a shy birthday greeting.
Juicy remembers Bianca's family attending her parties 3 years ago.
She reflects on the letters and gifts sent 2 years prior.
1 year ago, Bianca watched the white cub with admiration. Juicy laughs at the memory of Bianca's constant, intense gaze. The princess encourages Bianca to address her more casually today. Juicy suggests they become friends since they share the same age.
Bianca is visibly moved that the princess actually remembered her.
The shy girl expresses how much she admired Juicy's cub form.
Bianca's father reveals his daughter's secret hobby of drawing portraits.
A blushing Bianca presents a special envelope to the princess. Juicy accepts the gifted portrait with a warm, appreciative smile. She expresses how much she appreciates this sweet birthday present. Juicy suddenly freezes as she senses a powerful magical aura. A faint blue energy glows around the drawing of the cub. Narration explains the regenerative powers of the water dragon Veronia. Juicy is stunned to feel such divine power from a human. She suspects Bianca might possess the rare blood of Veronia. The princess realizes she has finally encountered a modern mixed blood. Mixed blood magic can merge perfectly over generations into unique abilities. Juicy resolves to secure Bianca as a vital wartime ally. Juicy takes Bianca's hands, shocking the girl with her enthusiasm. The princess invites her new friend to visit the palace.
Echiel interrupts the meeting to begin the official banquet ceremony.
Juicy feels immense satisfaction with the progress of her banquet.
The princess closes her eyes to make a birthday wish.
The scene shifts as the formal palace festivities wind down. Attendants note that Juicy and Echiel have slipped away together. The pair watches a dazzling firework display from a balcony. Juicy eagerly reminds her collaborator about her promised birthday gift. Echiel asks her to close her eyes for the surprise. Juicy opens her eyes to behold a breathtaking magical sight. Juicy stares in wide-eyed wonderment at her breathtaking birthday gift. The princess worries about the gift's value, but Echiel insists it is special just for her. Narration explains that rare blue diamonds can permanently hold high-level enchantments. A flashback reveals Echiel explaining how emperors historically gave such jewels to those they loved. Juicy blushes deeply while reflecting on the romantic history of the precious gemstone.
Sitting together in the quiet moonlight, Juicy offers a soft, sincere thank you. Sensing a strange energy, the princess asks about the magic cast upon the earring.
Juicy calls out to the distracted boy as a sudden, sharp gasp sounds from his surprise. Echiel reveals the earring is a summoning spell that automatically calls him if she is in danger.
The princess is amazed by the power to summon the world's strongest magician at will.
The pair shares a peaceful moment watching the stars together. Dazzling fireworks light up the night as Echiel offers another warm birthday greeting.
Juicy smiles, finding the exhausting day as the center of attention truly delightful. A tiger firework blooms as Juicy wishes her father and brother could be by her side.
Narration reveals her family is busy hunting the dangerous followers of the dark divine beast.
A blonde-haired man looks out over the landscape while his companion watches him closely.
Javier realizes he must act quickly to stop the blonde prince's impulsive plans. The dark-haired man advises the prince to accept that the princess cannot return yet.
Javier defends the emperor's decision to keep her away until the empire is truly secure. The blonde prince acknowledges his father's wisdom regarding the dangers Juicy would face. The group moves forward, noting they will reach their destination within a single day. A quick, heavy clang sounds as a boot kicks into the metal stirrup. The blonde prince commands the group to hurry as they gallop through the fields. Historical records show the Aethelaz Grand Duchy collapsed a century ago after its direct line died out. Following the collapse, the northern territories were plagued by rampant corruption and fragmentation. The blonde prince vividly remembers the wasteland he saw during his previous tour of the empire. Securing the north is vital for Juicie's return, but it has long been a ruined wasteland. The prince's father viewed the unstable north as the empire's most troublesome region. Everything changed when a man named Bane Ithelos appeared, claiming to be the rightful heir. While the emperor was relieved by the stability, he remained suspicious of the Grand Duke's intentions. The blonde prince reflects on his mission to investigate the stability and loyalty of the north. He is stunned to see the once ruined region has become incredibly prosperous. Reports of former residents returning to the flourishing town prove to be true. The prince finally understands why the area is now called the City of Prosperous Roses. Chibi Javiet is curious about the beloved leader, but the blonde prince remains wary. The prince realizes why his father sent him to see the northern miracle firsthand. A soft, light chirp sounds from the birds over the peaceful, rose-filled town. The blonde prince questions where a man with such incredible administrative abilities suddenly appeared from. They discuss the mysterious beast people who supposedly raised and educated the current Grand Duke. The prince and Javiet hide behind a wall to observe the Grand Duke's activities. They watch as a purple-haired man sits by a fountain with several small animals. The Grand Duke gently pets a sick cub, promising that it will recover soon. The man expresses his desire for the creature to live by his side forever. Javiet is impressed to learn the Grand Duke manages the civilian relief hospital personally. The prince observes that the man's character seems as flawless as his competence. Despite the man's perfection, the blonde prince feels uneasy and decides to confront him. The prince steps out of hiding and walks toward the purple-haired man by the pool. The Grand Duke looks up as the blonde prince approaches him with a serious expression. Sitting together, the blonde prince brings up the hospital built with the Grand Duchy's funds. He questions the bold decision made in the face of significant household opposition. The purple-haired man discusses his heavy burden regarding the northern territories. Claude questions a mysterious disease affecting only northern white beast people. A soft, quick woof sounds from the cub as the man clarifies other beast people reside there too. The prince asks if there are white beast people with features similar to the Grand Duke's. A sharp, sudden flinch sounds as the Grand Duke maintains a calm, knowing expression. Claude feels a sense of irritation regarding the Grand Duke's popularity with beast people. The Grand Duke requests to leave early due to an important prior engagement. The purple-haired man offers a broad, cheerful smile during the tense conversation. Claude thinks of Juicie's birthday banquet and his desperate wish to return immediately. The Grand Duke promises to host the prince properly at his residence later. A heavy, sudden clatter sounds as Claude stands and announces his immediate departure. The purple-haired man expresses his gratitude for the prince's perceived understanding. Watching the man depart, Claude suspects the Grand Duke is hiding an important matter. A faint, light swoosh sounds as the prince realizes he can no longer sense the Grand Duke nearby. Another quick, light swoosh sounds as Claude notes the man used high-level teleportation magic. A rhythmic, steady footstep sounds as Claude and Javier discuss beings capable of spatial movement. Narration reveals the divine beast of darkness can mimic properties and use water-based attacks. The prince considers that the divine beast is theoretically capable of using teleportation magic. Claude wonders if his impatience to see Juicy is clouding his analytical judgment. A soft, quick nod sounds as the pair resolves to report the North's stability to the Emperor. A gentle, airy rustle sounds through the cherry blossoms as night falls over the palace. A sudden, sharp halt sounds as Juicy stops walking along the palace balcony. A loud, echoing shout sounds as the silver-haired girl screams that Echiel is an idiot. Juicy is frustrated that Echiel won't let her leave the palace despite her stability. The princess huffs, determined to personally buy a suitable gift for her dense guardian. A dull, heavy thump sounds as Juicy accidentally bumps into a mysterious stranger. A flustered, frantic shuffle sounds as the red-haired man checks if the princess is all right. Juicy is startled, realizing she never sensed the man's presence until the collision. A bright, magical sparkle sounds as Juicy notices the red-haired man's unfamiliar, handsome face. Another quick, bright sparkle sounds as the stranger offers a formal, polite introduction. The red-haired man identifies himself as Verha Lars from the Magic Stone Merchant Guild. Verha Lars smiles kindly while standing amidst the glowing night cherry blossoms. A soft, warm smile sounds as Verha explains he was recently assigned to the Imperial Palace. Juicy questions his presence, and the red-haired man admits he is simply lost. Chibi Juicy is highly skeptical of the smiling man's claim about losing his way. Juicy is shocked to see a high-ranking Imperial access pass on Verha's wrist. A thoughtful, quiet sounds as Chibi Juicy acknowledges his identity is officially guaranteed. A rhythmic, steady footstep sounds as Verha invites her to the Magic Engineering Research Institute. The cheerful, bright giggle sounds as Juicy decides she wants to help the familiar-feeling man. Another rhythmic, steady footstep sounds as the pair walks together under the blossoms. Juicy is fascinated by Verha's extensive knowledge about the world outside palace walls. The red-haired man clarifies that his distinct red earrings are not actually magic tools. Verha notes the rarity of Juicy's gems and asks if her earrings were a gift. A soft, light swoosh sounds as Juicy blushes, admitting they are from someone important. The princess reflects on her unrequited feelings while wishing to provide a return gift. A series of quick, playful pokes sound as Verha snaps Juicy out of her daze. Verha confirms he will be staying in the capital for a significant amount of time. A rhythmic, steady footstep sounds as Juicy invites her new acquaintance to visit her palace. A sudden, sharp freeze sounds as Verha addresses Juicy as the mistress of Stella Palace. A gentle, soft rustle sounds as Juicy realizes the stranger already knew her secret identity. Verha notes it is strange not to recognize a famous figure like the princess. Juicy stares in shock as her reflection shimmers in her own wide eyes. Under the pink blossoms, Juicy admits she feels a long-standing connection to him. Verha smiles warmly, confirming he shares that same strange sense of familiarity. He suggests such deep feelings mean they were connected in a past life. Juicy dismisses the past, eager to simply become friends in the present. Chibi Juicy is surprised as Verha offers a birthday gift to his new friend. A bright, magical glow sounds as Verha presents a rare Lielberg egg. The legendary Lielberg is a small, pale green creature with white features. Juicy stares at the precious gift in her hands, her face flushed with wonder. Vera explains she can have a beast specialist maid verify the egg's authenticity. Juicy hesitates to accept such a valuable item, suggesting he offer it to the emperor. Verha watches her closely, a knowing and slightly intense glint in his magenta eyes. Chibi Verha insists that the egg has already chosen Juicy as its master. He laughs, claiming the prophesied princess is the only one worthy of its loyalty. Verha jokingly tells her to view the rare egg as a guild bribe. He explains that the egg is too fragile for the emperor to handle safely. A soft, quick tuck sounds as Juicy finally agrees to accept the precious gift. A sudden, sharp click sounds as Verha prepares to depart after their meeting. Verha smiles warmly while asking her to raise the Hala egg with care. Juicy promises to show him the bird's growth during their next reunion. A soft, light tug sounds as Verha takes her hand, declining any guard escort. A soft, quick peck sounds as he kisses her hand, choosing to wait for fate. Juicy is left stunned, reflecting on how truly mysterious her new acquaintance is. A series of quick, heavy gasps sound as Juicy's maid finally finds the princess. The black-haired maid laughs with relief after searching everywhere for her mistress. A rhythmic, steady footstep sounds as they discuss tomorrow's outing, while Verha watches secretly. A soft, light swoosh sounds as Verha reflects on the difference between stories and reality. A sudden, sharp snap sounds as Verha removes his glasses. addressing Juicy as Anosh. Verha watches from the balcony, anticipating the upcoming stage he has carefully built. A soft, wet drip sounds from the purple slime left behind near the courtyard. A series of bright, magical shimmers sound as Echiel and a silver-haired mage investigate. A series of bright, floral shimmers sound as they search the ground for clues. A series of soft, light whispers sound as they find absolutely nothing of the intruder. Echiel is confused by the lack of traces despite the intense energy he sensed. The silver-haired mage investigates the wet spots, finding them too common to be evidence. He concludes that there is nothing conclusive to be found near the water tanks. A soft, quick rustle sounds as Echiel stares intensely at his mysterious white rose brooch. A rhythmic, steady footstep sounds as Echiel walks away, noting how distressed Juicy appeared. Echiel feels guilty for ruining the princess's birthday with his restrictive and protective behavior. He realizes Juicy was right about her ability to handle herself in the capital. Juicy looks back with a firm expression, while Echiel hopes she feels better soon. A sudden, sharp shout sounds as someone calls out to the distracted boy magician. A series of quick, heavy puffs sound as the maid reports Juicy's presence has vanished. Echiel freezes in shock upon hearing that the princess is nowhere in the palace. A sudden, sharp whoosh sounds as they search the empty balcony for any sign of her. Echiel stands in disbelief, unable to grasp how she could just disappear so suddenly. Narration reveals Juicy was pulled into a separate dimension before being returned to that spot. Echiel's eyes burn with intensity, wondering who could have intentionally blocked the princess's energy. A soft, light swoosh sounds as the silver-haired mage notes the culprit wasn't a mage. The silver-haired mage investigates the intruder's faint ability aura. Echiel and the mage coordinate contacting the empires for advice. The mage questions the intruder's strange lack of direct aggression. Security tightens while the untouched palace grounds suggest a subtle threat. Echiel finds the intruder's peaceful entry into the palace unsettling. Watching from the balcony, Echiel suspects Juicy was being observed. They resolve to set a trap rather than questioning the princess. Echiel vows to capture the mysterious intruder without fail. Protecting Juicy from empire threats remains his top priority. He considers sending her back to Penance for her safety. Echiel watches the stars, wishing for the peace to last. A week later, Juicy prepares for her first official outing. Juicy seeks an opportunity to thank Echiel personally for everything. Seeing Echiel burdened with work, Juicy decides not to interrupt. The maids invite Juicy to inspect her gifts from Penance. Juicy is overwhelmed by the sheer volume of family gifts. She recalls the reception room bursting during the first year. Juicy once used threats to limit her family's gift-giving habits. Juicy excitedly examines the new dresses and shoes she received. A soft, quick click sounds as she opens a special box. She discovers a sword that feels like a long-awaited destiny. A rhythmic, steady thump sounds as Juicy's heart skips a beat. Javier identifies the weapon as the legendary sword Silentium. It is a Penance heirloom forged by a legendary blacksmith. Javiet is startled by Juicy's natural affinity for the blade. Juicy smiles, feeling incredibly lucky to receive the family treasure. She is moved by her father's thoughtful gift for her. Juicy's physical prowess ensures she will master the blade quickly. She prepares to send a heartfelt thank you note home. Eager to train, Juicy pulls Javiet toward the training grounds. A few days pass as Juicy hones her combat skills. Today marks the day of Juicy's real duel with Claude. She remembers their past training sessions and Claude's high level. Claude greets her warmly as Juicy displays her combat eagerness. Claude questions if she is truly comfortable using live steel. Juicy playfully taunts him, promising to go easy today. Claude counters by boasting about his slightly superior win record. The two friends bicker over their past training statistics. Juicy yields the point, aiming for a tie today. Confident in her new sword, Juicy prepares to fight. Their duel begins with a fierce clash of swords. Claude maintains a calm smile amidst the high-speed action. Juicy struggles to keep up with Claude's incredible speed. Claude acknowledges her growth while keeping the pressure on. He warns her not to focus only on the sword. A bright, magical flash sounds as magic circles erupt.
Claude integrates high-level magic directly into the physical duel.
Juicy is stunned by Claude's instant, non-verbal spellcasting technique. Claude stands dominant, surrounded by massive, glowing magic circles. Juicy realizes she must move instantly to survive the onslaught. Claude commands Juicy to focus as their swords clash fiercely. A massive magical splash disrupts Juicy's balance during the duel. A sudden, heavy thoom sounds as a powerful wave overwhelms the princess. Juicy sits defeated and soaked while Claude offers an apologetic smile. Juicy humbles herself, admitting she stands no chance against Claude. Narration recounts Claude's prestigious and early graduation from Lielberg Academy. Juicy recalls Claude's true genius despite his recent slacker behavior. Juicy feels deeply embarrassed by her earlier, unfounded confidence. Claude offers a warm smile while suggesting he dry her hair. A soft, steady whir sounds as Claude uses his self-invented magic tool. Claude explains the invention was created specifically for drying things. Juicy reflects on Claude's impressive and diverse range of talents. Claude accurately reads Juicy's thoughts while continuing to dry her hair. He offers encouraging words, praising her rapid progress with the blade. Claude acknowledges her hidden anxieties and offers to wait patiently. Claude jokes that her winning would have been truly shocking news. He emphasizes that learning swordsmanship is essential for her journey. Juicy beams with gratitude as Claude finishes his gentle task.
Chibi Juicy waits expectantly for the start of their planned outing.
Juicy is thrilled to finally leave the palace for some fun. Javiet informs the princess that Claude is nearly ready to depart. A bright, magical hum sounds from the mysterious egg on the nightstand. Juicy gazes at the white egg, wondering about its secrets. Juicy worries about the specific conditions needed for the egg to hatch. The legendary hyena bird represents a future of grace and power. Juicy promises to cherish the bird with food and play. A tender warmth fills Juicy as she admires her precious gift. Javier announces that Claude is prepared for their trip outside. A soft, dark shimmer sounds as purple energy swirls around the egg. An ornate royal carriage waits patiently in the sunny courtyard. Claude escorts the ecstatic princess toward the waiting carriage. Juicy is overcome with joy at finally being out in the world. A series of bright, hoppy giggles sound as Juicy explores the garden. Javier realizes that Juicy's happiness outweighs the risks of the outing. The green-haired maid lists several high-end locations for them to visit. Claude suggests a tour of the local magic and weapon shops. Juicy is absolutely delighted by the prospect of their shopping trip. A serene, floral glow surrounds the princess in her moment of bliss. A series of bright, floral shimmers sound as Juicy walks with her companions. The blonde man surprises the group by offering to escort Juicy. The blonde man offers a charming and confident smile to the princess. Chibi Claude and the blonde man engage in a silent, tense rivalry. Juicy chooses Claude to escort her, much to his surprise. Claude is honored and promises to guide the princess anywhere. Juicy is mesmerized by the sight of a delicious strawberry cake. Juicy relaxes happily after finishing a massive and satisfying meal. Juicy stares at a display while remembering Verha's mysterious presence. A soft, light chiming sounds from the entrance of the Magic Guild. Juicy is disappointed to learn that Verha is away today. Claude questions the origin of her egg as they walk together. Juicy mentions wanting help with hatching her mysterious egg. Claude smiles warmly and tells her to enjoy today. Chibi Claude suggests visiting a famous boutique nearby. Juicy excitedly agrees that the shopping trip sounds good. A rhythmic, steady footstep sounds as the group walks town. They discuss dinner plans as they walk toward a restaurant. Javiet asks the princess if she is feeling unwell. Juicy boards the carriage while assuring Javiet she is fine. A sudden, sharp blare sounds as Javiet looks back warily. The scene shifts to the Lielberg Imperial Palace Council Chamber. A sudden, heavy thud sounds as Echiel slams a report. Echiel notes the insufficient progress on multiple imperial investigations. Subordinates tremble as the emperor's temper continues to worsen. Echiel declares the serial murder investigation their top priority. Narration details the mysterious disappearances nearing the capital.
Echiel is troubled that incidents began after Juicie's birthday.
He wonders if the beast person from that day is involved. Echiel prays his growing unease is just a baseless worry. Echiel questions Noah Silkieria about the status of magic tools.
A soft, quick drip sounds as Noah sweats nervously.
Noah apologizes for the lack of results due to manpower.
Echiel realizes results are possible if he secures more staff.
A sudden, sharp snap sounds as Noah promises results.
Echiel vows to assign a capable individual to the case.
A soft, quick itch sounds as Claude touches his ear. The group enters a high-end shop with many luxury items. Juicy compares a red and white cravat carefully. Claude watches as Juicy continues to examine the fabrics. Juicy mentions wanting to choose the Emperor's gift herself. Claude smiles while thinking about their friendship over years.
Juicy remains focused on the materials in her hands.
Juicy decides that one specific color suits the Emperor better. A soft, quick sparkle sounds as Juicy concentrates on shopping. A sudden, sharp blare sounds as the group stands together. Juicy enthusiastically decides to buy the entire shop's stock. A rhythmic, steady footstep sounds as they carry many boxes. Claude is shocked by the scale of Juicy's wealth. A sudden, bright shine sounds as Juicy hugs a gift. Juicy presents a gift to Claude as a thank you. A sudden, loud shout sounds as Claude vows eternal loyalty. Juicy tells a blushing Claude to wear the gift. A soft, warm glow sounds as Claude smiles with gratitude. Juicy laughs with joy, delighted by her successful shopping trip.